Howdy.
Yep. Beneil, over here. Obviously, it's been a while since we last saw you compete in the octagon. So I guess just how's life been since then? Because we've heard you wanted to fight maybe a little earlier, but I guess now you have Renato. So just how's life been since then?
Life's been great. I got some time off, rest, recover, had another baby. Let's see, opened up a new gym, bigger gym. So just been busy and then focusing on sharpening my tools. Like you said, I was hoping to fight earlier. Had an issue with my meniscus, got over that, and now we're here.
Was it a slipped meniscus or torn one?
It's torn. I don't know exactly. They were like, you gotta take it out or replace it or sew it back, and I was like, if that's what we have to do, that's what we have to do. But give me a couple of weeks to try physical therapy. 4 weeks into physical therapy before I can even get in for my next for the surgery, it started feeling better. So we kept going through with the physical therapy, and then um, their theory is that I tore it perfectly where it doesn't lock up anymore, and I'm just like, all right, that makes sense. Whatever.
I'm curious if you've noticed, since your last fight, there's been a lot of change in the top of the lightweight division, and it seems like anytime someone wins that's on like a bit of a winning streak, it's always like, well, maybe they can fight Beneil next. It just seems to be how it always was for the last 12 months.
Well, you have to understand. Every single time I call my manager, I ask for, whoever I think is, one of the best guys in the world, or whoever I believe can be a champion. And this time I didn't have that opportunity yet because I'm coming from losses. But the UFC basically kept that same energy, which is great for me. They see Hanato on a run, and they're like, well, Dariush likes to fight everybody on a run, so let's put them together. And I was stoked.
What do you make of Renato as an opponent? Because, he was in here, and I think his exact phrase was, I really like Beneil, but I'm going to beat the shit out of him on Saturday.
Yeah. Similar feeling. I would definitely say similar feeling. I would say he's obviously a veteran. He has a lot of fights, a lot of experience, all the tools. But I think what makes him special is his game planning. Him and his team are able to put together a really good game plan. And for example, his last fight, you could say Benoit maybe is more athletic, more dangerous, and all that stuff. But within 30 seconds of the fight, the timing of that takedown, the way he got that takedown, it completely changed the fight. And I think that's more of a strategy. You have to have the skills. Don't get me wrong, but the strategy to be able to pull that off, I think that was the change in direction of the fight.
You called him a veteran, but I think in one of the videos you said you like to fight rising stars when you were talking about Moicano. So when you say rising star, do you mean just like popularity-wise? Because I feel like Moicano's never been as popular as he is now.
You could be a veteran and continue to rise in the ranks. I think the idea is if you're a veteran, you're done, right? So I think he's a veteran, but at the same time, he's on the rise, both as in his career professionally and also as a star. I think he's understood in order to captivate people what he needs to say, and he says it well. He's got a lot of charisma, and he doesn't say like anything crazy to me, but it's the way he says it. He actually makes perfect sense in a lot of the things he says.
And I think I read an interview that you're saying like you're going to use this fight as a gauge of whether you're going to retire or when the timeline for retirement is. But I feel like every scrum you do, that's brought up, like the last several fights. So why do you think people are just constantly asking about like when you're going to retire when you have a fight in a few days?
Gray hairs. I look older than the average person in general, my age. But I mean, I don't know. I feel great right now. I'm just looking forward to the fight. And as far as retiring goes, one day you just know you don't have it. And if that's the case, then we're done.
You still going to bring the kids to the fights?
So they were here yesterday. They'll visit me. I don't know, because it gets so loud at the fights. I don't think it's the best, but my wife's like, maybe I'll take it. I was like, so I prefer the kids don't come to the fights. I prefer they stay in the hotel or something like that, but I'm not really in control because I'm fighting, so it's up to the wife. I think it's better for the kids to stay home or in the hotel. They can play, fight's over, I come back, we go eat, do our thing.
I think I remember you even brought one of them all the way over to Abu Dhabi at one point.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really have a choice for that one because I got to go to Abu Dhabi early to get adjusted to the time. And so, leave my wife for 2 weeks with a baby. She's, she would, when I came back, I would have another fight on my hands. So I just figured it would be the safer choice for my health to bring her along with me. And it worked out great. We got to get lots of sunlight in the morning, go get coffee every morning, and then eat whatever, and then I would train at night, and that was kind of the routine until the day of the fight.
Just last one for me. Can I just get your thoughts on the main and co-main at the top of the card?
Main event, I am leaning towards Makhachev, but you have to understand, Arman has a very good chance, I think, earlier on. I think as the fight goes later into the rounds, I think Makhachev is more likely to take over because, one, he has more experience with fights going into the fifth round, and also just looking at their careers, Arman has always been a fast starter, right? And then as far as Merab and Umar goes, I'm leaning towards Merab, and I don't know. Maybe it's just because I like Georgian food and I like Merab a lot, but I'm leaning towards him, and I believe his experience can be the difference. And bro, he's a game day fighter. People will always talk about training, but he is a game day fighter like nobody else.
Beneil, do you find it funny that people ask you about retirement and call Moicano like this up and comer when you're both the exact same age?
I think I'm a little bit younger than him. So I think I'm a couple of months younger than him. I'm not sure, but yeah, I think it's pretty funny. So, if that's the case, one old guy's gonna get beat up, basically.
If you're younger than him, why aren't you out here calling him an old piece of shit?
I should. That old piece of poop is gonna get it.
Beneil, right back here. Good to talk to you again. I think it's been almost 7 years since we first talked, and
Wow.
Love to see you keeping on killing it. May I ask, before you had a family and now, and I guess you have 3 kids now, is that right?
That's right.
Is there any difference in mindset when you go to do your training and you think about fighting and what's on the line and your mission ahead of you?
As far as motivation, I don't think anything's changed. I think God has given me this motivation that just seems endless and almost to a certain extent where it turns into a bad thing. But as far as it doesn't change my desires. I want to be a champion. I want to provide for my family. That's never changed. I think what's changed is I have to be less self-centered, less selfish. So I have to find a way to do everything I need to do for my training, but at the same time still be a man that is capable of coming home, being good to my kids, being good to my wife, and being good to my family. And that requires sacrifice. That requires sacrifice in terms of your scheduling. That requires sacrifice in terms of your hobbies. That requires sacrifice in terms of your interactions in general. So I think those are the things that have changed. I've had to mature, give up some things, pick up some new things, and that's been the difference.
Absolutely. How do you feel Moicano compares with some of your past opponents, and is there anyone that you feel he's similar to? And the second part of that is, do you feel that your style is at all similar to his, and his to you?
I mean, stylistically, I would say we're both both well-rounded. As far as styles go, there's glimpses of him having similar styles to some of the people I've fought. For example, Diego Ferreira, he had excellent jiu-jitsu, and obviously Moicano has great jiu-jitsu. So when it comes to striking, I fought lots of strikers, and he has quite a versatile set of skills when it comes to striking. You see him throw knees, kicks. He's got good boxing. So there's glimpses there, but he's unique. And I think what makes him unique is his ability to game plan.
Absolutely. Who's been helping you over at Kings for this camp?
So for training partners is pretty much the same. I got Giga, I got Urush. These are some guys you guys know. I have some people you don't know. I got my younger up and comers. I got some Georgian teammates, Armenians. I got a bunch of Eastern European guys from some Bulgaria. Like they're just coming in. I don't know where these guys are coming from, but I love it. I have some excellent training partners. So all the originals, and then I'm adding some new flavor to it. So I'm really happy with all my training partners and all the people that I have. And then as far as coaching goes, I've had Nolan Tickman, who is my head coach at Kings MMA in Anaheim, and then I have Rodel Mayol, who is my boxing coach. And then this is the first, but Rafael Cordero, he's kind of he's had such a hard year, being with Tyson this whole time. I know it looks so glamorous, but he's had such a hard year. So he's been he's on a break, I guess you could call it.
Gotcha. Last quick one for me. A lot of people don't know that you're a very benevolent guy, giving to a charity that I think you created years ago. I remember you made a statement a few years back that your 20-year-old car ran fine and you could give your money to charity to people who need it, I think, over in Haiti. Is that still in operation, I hope, and what's going on with that?
So, they call it civil unrest, but it's more like a civil war right now in Haiti. And what's going on in Haiti is basically there is you could call it a gang or whatever. They've risen up to the point where they're in charge of a lot of the country. And so they fight with the government. There's military involved, and it's basically a civil war. And so we've had to change our approach in how we go into Haiti and what we do in Haiti. We had a children's home, and we provided for them. We gave them a roof. We had car and things like that. But when you have all this stuff, you become a target. You see somebody who's got a car, who, the kids have backpacks, nice clothes and stuff like that. It's an easy target. So we've had to change it up. We've had to move these kids into individual homes, provide for the entire family that's taking care of the kids, and that's been the approach. It's safety has to be our number one concern. And so, our the leaders of the group were getting mugged. Is a nice way of saying it, but they were at gunpoint basically a couple of times, and that's we had to change strategies. But yes, still we have programs. We have feeding programs in Haiti. We have a bunch of stuff going on in Haiti, and we actually want to do more. It's just easier said than done. In order to do more, for example, we want Haiti to be able to provide for itself. We don't want to have to always, give handouts to Haiti. We want Haiti to work hard. We want Haiti to, build its own nation and fend for itself and take care of itself. That's the goal. And we're trying to build some programs that will help do that. But easier said than done.
Yeah, no, well, best of luck Saturday. God bless.
Appreciate it.
Beneil, to your left over here. Over here, Beneil. You mentioned a little bit earlier, quite the diverse sparring partners that you have. This card is also quite uniquely diverse. What does it mean to you as an Assyrian to also be on a card with Armenian and a Georgian, especially considering what our people have gone through?
It's awesome. We've I get to share the card with so many other athletes, different cultures. I was just telling somebody asked me a question about what I want to eat after this fight, and my mom's food is always number one. The dishes she makes, you can't beat that. But another one is Georgian food. Man, I don't know if you guys ever had this thing called khinkali. It's a dumpling, and it's a big dumpling. It's not like a small dumpling, full of meat, and it's super juicy. And you pick it up. You gotta make sure you don't lose the juice as you eat it. It's incredible. So that's like one of the things that I've been thinking about way too much at the moment. Anyways, those are the things that come up when I see Arman. Obviously, I want to avenge my loss. I want to get that fight back, but I also think about food again. There's a bakery. What is it called? Paradise Bakery in Glendale that my mom loves. She loves the bread, so she's like, "Can you get me some bread?" And every time I go there, there's so much food. So I always end up, having a little bit of extra food and getting stuff. But so that's what when I see these fighters and all these other things, I think of. I mentioned Bulgaria. Now I'm thinking of the the Bulgarian yogurt. That's that. So when I look at different countries and I think about food, so that's how my brain works.
What about khingali or khachapuri rather?
Khachapuri, the egg with the bread. Yeah, so khachapuri is this big bread, and then they put eggs in it, butter, and man, it's
Cheese.
lots of cheese. Yeah, we could talk about it. I think it's easier if you guys go out there and just try it. That's the best way to do it. You got to learn how to spell it though. That's the hard part.
Beneil over here.
Yeah.
Beneil, Southern California guy, and this is your first fight in SoCal, I believe, since 2016. Just how big is the entourage going to be on Saturday for you?
People are texting me and telling me they're coming to the fight and they're stoked, and I'm stoked too. I don't have an exact number for you, but I'm expecting more people than usual. Let's just put it that way.
You're obviously one of the most polite guys on the roster. What is your strategy for letting people down easy that you don't have a ton of free tickets to give them?
Just been like, hey, sorry, I don't got it. The link I had was, it's already expired. Whatever. I tried my best. That's all I get. So I don't really have a strategy. Just tell them the truth.
Back to the Moicano and the age thing. It's actually, you're only 15 days
Oh, okay.
older than Renato.
Okay, so he's an April guy. Okay. Or no, wait. He's June. He's May. He's also May. Oh, okay. Dang, I'm gonna beat that old piece of poop up.
Final one, just as a quick note. You talked about it. It's like people just see, because you have a little bit more gray, people just want to put the retirement thing on you. It has to have crossed your mind, what if just like one fight week, a little bit of dye in there? See if it would change the conversation.
You sound like my wife. That's what she tells me all the time. Why don't you just dye your hair? Like, we have this event coming up. Think about how you'll look, and think about how people will see. And what about your mom? She'll be so excited to see you, looking younger. Blah 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 blah. Man, I don't. The issue is, well, I don't think I look terrible with gray hair, and the other issue is just, bro, this is how God made me. I was built to take more stress in. It just results in gray hair. So I don't want to change the way God has made me. So I like my hair the way it is, and if it falls out, that's when the real issues start. If it starts falling out, let's see if my wife will still love me. That's the real indicator. It's not the gray hairs or having darker hair. So we'll see.
Hypothetically, let's say you dyed it, you go out there, you finish him, and people say, man, Beneil's making the comeback. He's now on the rise.
So I think if I just get the finish, which I plan to, I think that's enough. But if it requires me dyeing my hair, I will consider it.
Over here, you talked about the strength of his game planning. Does that make it kind of hard for you to strategize against him on what he's doing, because it'll be a little bit different?
So when someone is good at strategizing, like I mentioned, the best thing you could do is be more well-rounded, because that allows me to move from one game plan to another. I don't have to have a super strict game plan on how I approach this. If something changes on the fly, because I have the skill set and the weapons, I can do that. So that's kind of the approach for Moicano is keep all my skill sets sharp. I have a game plan, and if it changes, then I will move on to the next one. And that's the approach. I have to be able to adapt within the minute, within the rounds, within the exchanges.
So mentally, will you, instead of staying on like a strict schedule of what you're trying to do, you're really just trying to adapt throughout the entire thing, basically?
Yes, that's a good way to put it. We're good? Thank you, gentlemen and ladies.